When there are negative sounds in the house, such as complaining, quarreling, and crying, they can create a heavy and gloomy atmosphere, not only affecting harmony but also causing fear and stress in everyone's psychology. 1. Complaining. Complaining in the family often originates from dissatisfaction and negative emotions that each person has to face in daily life. I, at the age of 50, have experienced many things in life, and I understand that not everything always goes as planned. When a person in the family often complains, this not only reflects their personal difficulties, but also greatly affects the general atmosphere in the house. Complaining about work, relationships, and daily life gradually becomes a psychological burden for everyone around. I have seen many families where complaining becomes a part of life, making the house stuffy, no longer a place for people to feel peaceful. Every time I hear complaining, I feel the frustration and disappointment from the speaker, but at the same time, it also makes me feel worried and insecure. There are times when complaining continuously is like the last straw, not only hurting the speaker but also making other people in the family feel depressed and lose their positive spirit. Those sounds not only make the house heavier but also gradually distance people because no one wants to be in a space full of pressure and negativity. I always think that if in the family everyone understands and shares each other's difficulties, then complaining will decrease, giving way to sympathy and encouragement. Then the house will return to being a place where everyone can find peace, no longer dominated by negative emotions. Uncontrolled complaints can disrupt harmony and damage family relationships more deeply than we think. 2. Unsettling arguments. The sound of arguments in the family always makes me feel uneasy. It is a clear sign of conflict and contradiction, things that we all want to avoid. When family members cannot find common ground, arguments can easily escalate into loud quarrels. This not only makes the atmosphere in the house stuffy, but also creates a feeling of tension that cannot be relieved. Every scream, every hurtful word is like an invisible knife carved deep into people's hearts. I have witnessed and experienced such situations, and I understand that there is nothing more painful than seeing people you love hurt each other. What worries me the most is the psychological wounds that arguments leave behind. It is not just temporary pain, but it can be deeply engraved in the soul, damaging trust and family affection. Every argument is not just a disagreement, but also brings with it the worry of instability in the relationship. I wonder, can the words spoken in anger be completely forgotten? Or will it haunt forever, making people feel unsafe in their own home? For me, the sound of arguments not only affects adults, but children are also heavily affected. Children often do not understand the cause of the conflict, but they are very sensitive to the tense atmosphere around them. I saw the confusion in the eyes of children when they witnessed these scenes. They did not know what to do, did not know who was right, who was wrong, only felt insecure. I wonder, is there any child who really feels safe when the sound of arguing keeps ringing in their house? Adults are different. We understand the pressures of life better. But when arguing happens, not only the pressure from the outside, but also the pressure from within the family increases. I feel tired, not because of facing difficulties, but because of facing the breakdown in family relationships. I tell myself no matter how tired I am, peace in the family is still the most important thing that I have to maintain. But to do that, we need to know how to listen and understand each other, instead of letting arguments cause cracks in our feelings. 3. Crying. When there is frequent crying in the family, I know that it is not just temporary tears, but hidden behind them are deep pains, problems that have not been completely resolved. Crying in the house often comes from helplessness, when a member cannot find a way out for his or her emotions, or when the family has to face too many challenges. I have witnessed many, and when I hear each cry, I feel the insecurity that pervades, not only for the person crying, but also for everyone living under the same roof. When a person cries, especially frequently, it shows that they are under too much pressure, maybe from work, from relationships, or from unfulfilled expectations. Not only do they suffer, but the whole family is also dragged into a spiral of anxiety and stress. Crying is not only an expression of dissatisfaction, but also a sign that there are more serious problems, maybe an imbalance in the relationship between members. When I hear crying in the house, I understand that those people are feeling unheard, ununderstood, and this can lead to a rift in the family if not resolved promptly. A family where crying overwhelms laughter will become gloomy, no longer a place where people can find warmth and happiness. I have seen many families broken up just because those cries were not noticed early, not cared for with empathy and sincere listening. Every time there is crying in the house, I know that it is time for all of us to stop, listen to each other more, share more to find the cause, and overcome together. Crying, when not resolved, can become a deep wound, damaging the bond of the whole family. Only when we know how to listen to crying with a sincere heart can the family return to its inherent peace, where everyone can find comfort and peace in each other. The three sounds in the family, complaining, arguing, and crying, not only bring negative feelings but also create a stuffy, tense atmosphere. I have witnessed in my own family, or in other families, when these sounds become familiar, everyone in the family will gradually feel afraid and unsafe. It is not just a temporary feeling of discomfort, but it deeply affects the psychology of each member. Complaints, originating from dissatisfaction and fatigue with life or work, can spread negative emotions to the whole family. Small complaints accumulated over time, although not always intended to hurt, still make the common space stuffy. I understand that when a person keeps complaining, it reflects a lack of satisfaction and a desire for change. But if you don't know how to resolve them, those complaints will silently eat away at family happiness, making each member gradually feel stuck and lose faith in life. The same goes for quarrels. It is the sound of discord, of inevitable conflicts in marriage and family life. I believe that no family is without quarrels, but when quarrels become frequent and intense, they become an obsession. Angry words often hurt others, and then later people regret what happened. When the atmosphere in the house is always filled with tension, how can we feel at ease? Crying is probably the most heartbreaking sound. I remember the times I heard my loved ones cry. My heart could not be at peace. It was a manifestation of deep hurt, of sadness that people could not put into words. Crying in the home, whether it comes from one person or many, always carries a message of despair and helplessness in the face of life. It shows that something is wrong in our relationship. There were times when I wondered if I was really listening and understanding my loved ones when the crying continued. When my family was in those situations, I realized that these negative sounds were not just emotional outbursts, but also signs of deeper problems in the relationship. It is a warning that if not resolved, these negative emotions can lead to serious consequences, such as distance, loss of trust, or even breakup. Therefore, to have a real home, I think each of us needs to pay attention to the sounds coming from our home. When the voice of love, understanding, and sharing replaces the voice of complaining, arguing, or crying, the living space will become warm and peaceful. I believe that only when the family knows how to listen to each other, knows how to stop before it is too late, can we together build a truly harmonious environment where everyone feels loved and appreciated. Negative sounds such as complaining, arguing, causing insecurity, or crying are all manifestations of tension, disappointment, and discord in the family. These sounds not only make the atmosphere stuffy, but also seriously affect the mental health of each member. They not only reflect unresolved problems, but can also create distance in the relationship between members, damaging family cohesion. If not cared for and handled promptly, these sounds will gradually disrupt the peace in the house and create many unnecessary consequences. Therefore, each of us needs to listen not only to the sounds outside, but also to the echoes from our souls. Let's create a peaceful living space together, where laughter replaces complaints, loving voices replace arguments, and understanding melts away tears. If you have any other opinions, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to follow the channel to receive more valuable shares. See you in the next articles.